Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Farid bin Muhammad Fazli, and now I would like to talk about analysis of Shariah non-compliance risk ratios of Maybank Islamic Berhad for the year 2023. Let's look at the introduction. Shariah non-compliance risk is a risk of a failure and loss that can happen because of the Islamic banking operates without adhere to Shariah principles. This can possibly an Islamic banking to experience financial losses, damaging their reputational and unpurified profit. This risk exists because of the important requirement for all operations in Islamic banking to comply with the Shariah. So, this is the Shariah non-compliance risk ratio. The first ratio is Profit Sharing Investment Account PSIA to Total Deposit Ratio. The formula for this ratio is PSIA divided by deposit, which is RM 27.3 million divided by RM 210 million. So, we will get 12.99%. That means the bank shows low percentage, suggests that most of the deposits are under principal guarantee accounts. That means the bank have to face high risk and thus must ensure the investment are highly Sharia compliant. Next is the Tawarruk financing to total financing ratio. For this ratio, it is considered as not disclosed because for the Maybank Islamic Berhad, Tawarruk is not available in the annual report of 2023. After that is the Zakat distribution ratio. So, zakat distributed will be divided by net asset zakat subject to zakat. That means RM 51.2 million divided by 286 million. So, it will get 0.018%. It indicates low percentage and suggests the bank to recalculate zakat just for shareholders' equity or implement exemption. Lastly is the number of Shariah non-compliant events reported. So for this, Maybank have reported 2 events. Maybank Islamic Berhad is a leadership role in setting industry benchmark. The ratio reflects generally sound but somewhat cautious Shariah position. So, this is the analysis of the findings. First is Profit Sharing Investment Account PSIA to Total Deposit Ratio. The bank's PSIA shows an average application of profit sharing instruments for 12.99% of the total customer deposit. Higher PSIA ratio will show a stronger commitment to Sharia principles such as mudarabah and wakalah that will encourage equitable profit and loss sharing. Next is the Tawarruk financing to total financing ratio. The Maybank Islamic Berhad's Tawarruk is not available in the financial statements of 2023. The bank is just relying on the community-based structure because Tawarruk is almost as close as conventional loans mechanism. The exposure of Tawarruk that become barrier of this transparency and too much rely on contracts that against in Islamic perspective. After that is Zakat distribution ratio. The bank's Zakat distribution ratio has shown only 0.018% and it is considered low compared to their asset base. This is because some of the assets that are zakatable are not included. Zakat is key of Islamic finance to purify the profit. By enhance the transparency of zakat to AAOIFI standard might determine if the institution fulfills to Islamic principle and ethical. Lastly, the number of Shariah non-compliance events reported. Maybank Islamic Berhad has recorded 2 Shariah non-compliance events in 2023 which taken RM 679,000 to purify their profit. The first event, subsequent change in business activities for financing granted to a customer resulting in revenue generated from rental of property used for non-halal activities. The second one, compounding of accrued profit restructured term financing account. Now we will focusing on the potential areas of concern and the mitigation. The first potential concern is the PSIA ratio shows a low at 12.99%, which causes the number of customers participate in profit sharing arrangements become limited. Next, tawarruk financing considered is not disclosed, which it will raise the issues of transparency and governance. After that, the profit earned might be unpurified. For the zakat distribution ratio, which is stated at 0.018%, which is a quite low number, a narrow calculation is needed to purify the income. Lastly, the two events that happened has shown the weakness of the Maybank in post-financing and operational compliance. Now we look on the mitigation to mitigate the concern mentioned earlier. Maybank Islamic Berhad should improve the PSIA products to the better customer education and incentives. Next, to improve the transparency, the bank should break down the financing contract to overcome it, especially on the tawarruk financing. For the zakat, it should be recalculated, reviewed, and align it with the standards like AAOIFI. Lastly, the bank should also improve the control system and monitoring mechanism to identify Shariah non-compliance to avoid the risk. Now, I will talk about the benchmark comparison to the Bank Negara Malaysia. For the first benchmark comparison is Bank Negara Malaysia encourage a high participant in the profit sharing products that under the investment account. Maybank Islamic Berhad PSIA to total customer deposit is at 12.98%, which meet the expectation, but it is still low. Next, tawarruk policy of Bank Negara Malaysia requires all transparency on the structure, risk, governance, and disclosure of commodity-based financing. The Maybank Islamic Berhad must improve their disclosure of the tawarruk practices. For the zakat, Bank Negara Malaysia Shariah Governance Policy stated that the zakat payment needs to urge and the method of calculation must be transparent. Maybank's zakat indicates a very low ratio of 0.018% and need to have overlook and quick action immediately. Lastly is Bank Negara Malaysia stated that need to report of any non-compliance, purification and rectification steps to the Shariah governance framework. Maybank have done their responsibility by reporting those events and recover those issues. So, this is the summary of the risk. In 2023, Maybank Islamic Berhad has sustained a quite long, strong Shariah compliance posture. The bank has reported the two non-compliance events which to RM 679,000 and they already recovered the issue that following to the Bank Negara Malaysia Shariah Governance Framework. But there are still some of the concern left behind. The PSIA to total deposit ratio stated 12.98%, which is below the Bank Negara Malaysia's investment account policy, and it will cause a barrier to adopt profit sharing models. Tawarruk is an important component of Islamic banking, and it was not disclosed in the Maybank Islamic Berhad. The Bank Negara Malaysia's tawarruk policy also stated that it need to full disclose on the contract structure and Shariah governance. The zakat distribution for the bank also is very low, which is at 0.018%, and it is controversial because of the calculation method from the bank and their commitment society. Now we will look at some of the recommendation for the Maybank Islamic Berhad. The first one is increasing the PSIA engagement. Maybank Islamic Berhad need to increase their PSIA to deposit ratio by promoting mudarabah and wakalah-based accounts. For example, the bank can organize customer education campaigns and implementing competitive return structures. By that, it can strengthen the risk-sharing foundation in the Islamic finance. Next, disclose the tawarruk financing proportions. The bank should disclose the proportion of financing structure that based under tawarruk in the financial statements. With the transparency on the type of contract, it will improve the trust from stakeholders and compliance to Bank Negara Malaysia and the standard of AAOIFI. By that, it will provide better product governance and risk monitoring. Then, enhancing zakat governance and distribution. Maybank also should revise the calculation method of zakat, and it must disclose the zakatable asset base that align with AAOIFI or zakat authorities to increase the distribution of zakat to the beneficiaries. So, it will improve socio-economies, and the main reason is to purify the profit. Lastly is to strengthen Shariah compliance monitoring system. Maybank Islamic Berhad also needs to improve their Shariah monitoring process, such as the bank need to implement automating alerts if a contract is breached, organizing internal audits more regularly, and providing Shariah training to enhance the staff efficiency. With all these steps, it will help to reduce the chances of an incident happening in future and boost the governance credibility. In conclusion, Maybank Islamic Berhad has shown good efforts in maintaining Shariah compliance, including proper handling of 2 non-compliance events in 2023. However, improvements are needed in areas like increasing PSIA participation, disclosing tawarruk financing, and enhancing zakat distribution. By strengthening transparency and aligning more closely to Bank Negara Malaysia's guidelines, the bank can further uphold its integrity, improve stakeholders' confidence, and fully reflect the value of Islamic finance. That's all from me. Thank you for your time to listening.